I think it's exactly what you said, that we need to kind of ask ourselves the question, is this necessary to be an in-person gathering? And what is the kind of purpose for our getting together? And I think in the past, we would just have a meeting because, that's what we do. And, I think back to those funny memes that are always saying like, this meeting could have been an email. And I think we're all guilty of that on so many levels of, we're just used to doing things a certain way. I know for us, we found that our late night meetings, where maybe it might be a certain group of individuals that are getting together at 7 p.m., those are showing to be better suited to be a Zoom connection, because that way we don't have to have individuals out on the roads late at night. You actually don't have to, facilitate any type of childcare support or things like that. And so some of those kinds of meetings I could see in the future remaining online, because it's just extremely beneficial at 8:30 p.m. at the end of a long day to click leave meeting instead of having to leave the meeting in person. So things like that we're really trying to think through, but I think it challenges us to really just be thoughtful around our gatherings anyway, because, sometimes we might be meeting just for the sake of it, and that drains people as well, right? Just having a meeting because it's on the calendar. So there are things, as you mentioned, like fellowship opportunities and team building. Those things will always be really nice to do in person. I know for our restorative offerings, where we do things like Restore Your Heart or Grief Share, we are doing those online at this time, but those are things we'd love to have in person again when it's safe to do so, because you're connecting with individuals, and that's something that you really want to capitalize on, being together in a same space and in a room. But we're just trying to be thoughtful around it. So I think that will be our approach moving forward: what needs to be in person and what really is beneficial online.
Thom, how about you guys? What changes because of this experience?
I think a major change is with COVID. So many people have now been introduced to participating this way in what normally they only did physically. And so now they have a whole perspective on it, and they see that, wow, this works a lot more effectively than I expected. And now that opens the door for a lot more opportunity and choice and ways in which we can reach people. I see it really as an expansion of our mission field and our ministry. We can reach people that previously didn't participate or couldn't participate because we focused so much on the physical gathering. Now we can bring in the people who cannot join in that way, whether it's they're medically limited or physically limited for some reason, they're shut-ins, maybe it's just too far away, whatever it is. And as I mentioned before, the busyness. Now we can engage people who previously we couldn't, as we realize that this is just another way to do this, or an expanded way, and we're reaching people who so much, they're hurting, they're in need, and it's a more convenient way really for them to participate, and for so many of them. It's just, I think it opens tremendous doors for us. It's a ministry expansion.
And again, and for Bill, for you guys at North Point, what will be different going forward? You already mentioned like Regroup. You did it digitally and had a bigger participation rate this year.
Right.
Is that something that stays digital, or do you go back to in-person side? And then when it comes to your groups and training leaders, how much will you be now re-informed and develop new patterns because of this?
Well, I think the digital format, Bill, gives us options. And I think I would be remiss to say that immediately we'll never do an in-person gathering again, because I think every weekend we'll do an in-person gathering again at some point. I think what it does do is it allows us, whether we do it purely digital or whether we do it in a huddle kind of context, the material will be transferable, because it gives us a way to predictably deliver it. And if you miss it, then you're missing the interactive side of it potentially, but not necessarily the content side, because we'll always have the content available. And you know this from those kinds of leading experiences, some of the best aspect of it is the leader-on-leader interaction, what they learn from each other.
Yes, the interpersonal connectedness.